about things.
Yeah, they are. Well, I can't put his name in there.
Okay, we're good.
Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we'll go ahead and get the meeting started with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Another thing too, I'd like to ask for a moment of silence for reverence of Amanda Lasher's daughter, or son that died of cancer, Carson, on last week. So if we all just give a moment of silence for Carson. Thank you. It was a long battle, which thought they had it whipped, but it came back, so. Susan, you're next on the agenda?
Yes, the first thing I have is for the approval of payroll that was distributed on September the 13th.
Any questions?
No, so motion to approve.
Motion
Okay.
second, and
Aye.
aye.
Okay. Do I do that now or wait till at the end?
I can do it.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
You multitask.
All righty. And then the second is the approval of the minutes from meeting of July the 20th.
Okay, Greg, you had,
And Greg gave me
Yeah, I put a
one.
minor change to it.
Yeah.
So, no big deal. So, approve the minutes?
as amended,
As amended.
Okay,
and I second that.
Aye.
Aye.
okay. Oh, I'll send it in.
Okay. Next on the agenda, Alvin, you've got 5 items. We'll start with the Riverview South Industrial Park update.
On the Riverview Industrial Park, Riverview Industrial Park South Building Pad. Due to only receiving one response for the engineer for this project, it was re-advertised. 3 responses were received by the August 30th due date. However, only one was, only two of them was submittal of qualified documents. The question was submitted by Indiana 15 to EDA of the submittal, just 2 responses for the qualifications. And the response from the third firm was a response they were too busy to do work at this time were sufficient for them. After a 2-week delay, the response was it was per the county commissioner's policy for the selection of professional services, that whether or not that was sufficient or not. I discussed this with Chris with the matter for commissioners, and the Perry County Port Authority has the same issue on their project, or a different project, and Chris's response was, as per Indiana Code 51611.1-4, provides that public agency may provide the notice of the need for professional services. Section 5-16-11.1-5 provides that a public agency may make all contracts for professional services on the basis of competence and qualifications for the type of services to be performed, and negotiated compensation for the public agency determined to be reasonable. As such, Indiana statute is a policy for the commissioners and the Port Authority must follow for selection. The EDA requirement of advertising is acceptable, but just an add-on to the process required by Indiana statute. Therefore, per Indiana statute, the selection of the qualified firm from the submitting firms should continue. As Chris's opinion. He's not here. He would giving it, but after I discussed this with Lisa Gilhausen, she believes Indiana is asking for acknowledgement from the commissioners that Indiana Code Section 51611.1-5 is Perry County's policies for selecting professional services, such as engineering services, as the policy. A motion of such would be sufficient for her to give to Indiana 15. So there.
So you went way beyond my knowledge and experience here, so you have to dumb this down a little bit for me. So.
Okay, essentially, you've been following it, and then
Because I did not, coming in this, I didn't know this was.
yeah, the Indiana fit, commissioners to select Chris's or your engineer or PCDCs based upon the competence of the firms in doing the professional services that you're asking for. And that's all that little statute is providing for. They're just wanting right now is just we have a confirmation to for the EDA to say this is the firm manner in which you select professional services.
156-11.1 through 5, is that what you said?
That's correct, yes. Mm-hmm.
I mean, I haven't even read it or known about it or anything, so
Do we need action today, or is this something we can?
If we,
Put off for a while.
yeah,
We've been trying to do this.
we've been trying to do this for 2
And I
months,
understand
yeah.
it too, I mean, because
Yeah.
I've been having the conversations that this is what we do, but I don't want you to do something
I
that you're
have
uncomfortable
no
with.
idea what this statute says or anything, so my comfortability level is 0 at this point, so if this is something we were gonna do today, I really needed the conversation before now, I'll tell you that right now.
Well, things have been kind of
So
hectic with.
we tried to solicit this twice.
Yes,
Right?
this
We did
select
tried to
solicitation, so-
solicit an interest in statement of qualifications from design firms and reached out and,
This is the
you know,
one where we
still
got
are.
1 of 3, basically, last time, we were supposed to have 3, and we got 1.
Yes, yeah. Cash Wagner's the only one last time. This time it's Cash Wagner and Engineering Associates, and Lockmiller Group said they wouldn't be bidding because it's too busy.
And the amount is for probably above the 50,000 mark where we normally want multiple bids.
Well, not in engineering services, you don't. Engineering services, you just know, Perry County just normally negotiates.
I mean, I feel, I need to read this and know what's going on before I say anything, I'm sorry. I can't vote on it.
Well, if you want, this is the exact verbiage of the blue is.
And this, and who was this sent to? Because it wasn't sent to me.
Chris, I asked Chris about this policy.
But was this sent to me? I mean, this is,
No, that was not sent to you. I've,
So what, are you saying that EDA should accept this as long as the commissioners acknowledge?
this is the policy in
process
which we do it,
and-
yes.
And choose
Mhm.
to move forward?
Yeah, we're not asking for anything different than,
it's a
We
Anything
precedent.
very
Yeah.
seldom do that, because we usually get through, but this case we haven't got through. It used to only apply, it would only apply to very specific professional services.
those are all my notes for today. Just that part.
I mean, I would rather have a meeting next week, to tell you the truth, just so I can actually know what the hell I'm doing, because I don't know what I'm doing at this point.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay,
I
well,
wanna
if
be
you're not
honest.
comfortable, we can, delay it to another
Yeah.
meeting.
I mean, I had no knowledge of this before I came in, to tell you the truth, so I'm at a loss.
Okay. Well, we can
Yep.
put it on the agenda for the 4th.
That, or if we have another meeting in between, it's fine too, so.
Okay, we'll see how tight I know we want to get it done, but we waited this long, we want to do it properly.
We're comfortable.
Yep.
Mhm.
All right,
So we want a motion to table it?
motion to table it.
Okay, second. Aye.
Aye, sorry.
Okay.
Okay, there's an affidavit for, for payment of the 2021 bonds for TIF District Number 3, It's project number 2, which is environmental mitigation for Riverview Industrial Park, and RES Engineering, who's the engineer on this, provide monitoring services toward the mitigation work that's been accomplished. The invoice is $1,230.
This is all work previously, I mean, the RDC, that's the whole RDC thing that we actually went through, that where they actually approved this money beforehand too, right?
Yes, right. That's all. This is just
Discontinued.
this is to pay out of the bonds, you have to go through the affidavit process each time we do this.
Okay. Motion second.
It's on the second page.
Okay, and, aye?
Aye.
All right. Now the least complicated, the READY program.
And that's the reason we're behind on everything else.
Yeah.
But update on the ready process, the finalizing an application for Indiana First Region is being accomplished at this time by REA, the consulting firm working with Indiana Region 15. The process has been very fast-paced with a lot of work being accomplished. The Perry County Committee has been very active and much has been accomplished in a short time. Katie King and Aaron Emerson have been very involved in accomplishment of and support of the projects before the consultants. The submittal should go in by the consultants, should go in late this week for a review by Indiana Economic Development Council to allow for corrections that they suggest be made prior to the September 30th due date. So everything should be done. A quick rehash is that we were told Friday that right now it's over $50 million that would be earned by the projects being submitted, and that's the maximum that can be received. Anyway, and so there's there's several that Perry County submitted just in case for that were already paid for and everything else just to get the 20% match. So we're removing some of those projects from that submittal now, but it'll be it's quite a comprehensive program. A lot of effort in 6 weeks. Thank goodness they didn't try to do it all in 3.
Right, which was the original plan.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. Any questions on it?
I know it's been long days, I mean, but this, I mean, if we get a piece of this, it would be worth it. But
I think from talking to other regions, I think we're going to have a very good submittal to going in to go with it then. So.
I've seen the spreadsheet for in-depth, so budgets and everything else included in all those things.
right,
Yeah.
there's a lot to it.
Yeah. And it's an awful lot of work considering it's based upon you have to spend the money to get the money to begin with. But that's at the end of it, that's what it boils down to. So, but, anyway. Okay, any questions on that? Okay, what's next on it is the bond, yeah. On I'd forgotten about this one, Teresa, until you so remember on there. If you remember, there's the rail bridge project Port Authority has is the 1.325, I think is the number of bond process, and so it's been approved by the redevelopment. The bond itself is sent out. Interstate Bank is the agency, is the bank that's providing the loan, and this loan is through for 2 years, which is a working construction loan essentially during the time in which the USDA funds will be spent on the rebuilding the bridge at 11.7, or putting a new bridge in at 11.7, and then and also the engineering work for the one at 11.3, and the engineering work for the bridge at 8.7 over the Anderson River. So that should take that, and then the EDA, after that construction contract is signed, EDA will match the 80% reimburse of all the expenditures been beforehand, and then 80% the rest of the way out until it's done. And so this loan will be the 20% match to that 80% then too. So that'll be So that's the plan, so
And the max rate was?
1.44%
This
is
is
the,
1.2, is that?
oh, the max that we originally on was 3%.
Yeah.
And this is 1.44%.
So
for
there's
this.
1.2 stuck in my head.
Yes. Yeah.
So we got a good rate.
Yeah, I got a good rate, yes.
And you
Mhm.
actually went to multiple banks, but this was the one.
This is, right, they thought they were going to get two in, but this was the only one they got after submitting, well, they had a lot of conversations with the other, but only the one came in, but this, no one else would have been less than that, 1.44%, so.
And it was basically a disagreement of the terms that the other one didn't.
That's right, yes, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So their motion to approve.
Motion approved.
Okay, I'll second it, and then roll call.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, all right, thanks, so we can get that all cleared away then. The bridge, the bids have went out, and so it's due, when do they do that? Into this, no, first week of October, they're due then, and so then, and we're waiting on, DNR is wanting a document on some sort or the other, so hopefully that's only, once DNR signs off on it, Corps of Engineers will sign off on it, and then the project can be bid. So we're hoping to have all that completed by that time. Port Authority's hoping for all that, so. Okay. All right, and then the last thing is long past signatures on a document that you actually approved in April. Was the agreement with Cash Wagner for the Schweitzer Road Stream and Wetland Mitigation Agreement, for this stream and wetland mitigation was for Schweitzer Road, which was done on their side at Bear Creek. And so that's, all the work's been accomplished. Everything else, it just got delayed in the processes through, and said April was the late approval for it, but it because of various reasons. But now if we can just go ahead and get the signatures on the document, which has been approved, signed. So.
You comfortable?
Yeah.
Okay.
You want me, does there need to be a motion since it's already been approved?
I don't,
I think we just have to sign it, right?
just sign it.
I think it was supposed to come, I think it was discussed, but I don't know that there was.
We can
Go
go
ahead and make a
That would
motion
probably be a
just to
good
make
idea to
sure.
do it.
Yeah.
It won't hurt to do it twice.
Yeah, because I remember making the agreement, but I
Yeah.
actually did the motion, so.
Okay, so motion, so motion.
Motion made and second.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. And I think that's it for me.
Thanks, Al.
You're welcome.
Yep.
All right, next thing on the agenda is the Hospital Board of Trustees appointment, and in according to state statute, we get a recommendation from the Board of Trustees, and we haven't received that yet. We did receive one.
Yep.
And, and I personally am comfortable with him, but if you want to wait till.
You've got another one, you've got another
two,
one in your
actually.
inbox.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, well, I didn't read that this
Yeah.
morning then.
Yeah, two.
Okay, so you want to,
And I think that one actually was commented on even by the hospital too, as potential or something, yeah, so. There's two good ones basically, as far as.
it's really hard to decide.
The reason why I'd like to table it is because Randy's not here, and I think it'd be nice to have his opinion on it. I don't think there is a rush, right? So,
I reached out yesterday to Mr. Herwig just to check on the status, and he asked for a delay.
yeah. I know there's like
They are working
housekeeping
on it.
things that we've got to do, so the two of us works really well, but something like this, an appointment, I'd like to have Randy's opinion as well.
Yeah, I
So,
know the
if there's
30th
not a rush.
of this month is the last day for Grant Taylor's
Yeah,
being on the board, so.
but they'll still have a majority if they needed to do something though, so I mean, if we're not.
Right,
we're not-
their next meeting not till the end of October, so.
Yeah, so we've got time. So
Mhm.
I think we wait till Randy's back in October and make the decision.
Okay, I'll second that. Fine with me.
So tabled until
October.
October 1st, or what, is it second?
October.
Fourth
Fourth.
is, if we receive something from the board by that time, is that how you want to
Yeah.
do it?
Albie wanted signed what you just did, I didn't.
Oh,
I had
okay.
that.
I'll go ahead and sign that. We'll forget.
Was that voted? Was that
No, not yet.
final?
You want a second at the table?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so aye.
Aye. All right. Next thing on the agenda is a approval of transferring lien certificates from the city of Tell City, and I just got this morning, and we don't have Connie or Chris, either one here. So this kind of, did you get this document too?
I did, I got that one, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know this, I know this property has been on the lien, this has been on tax sales multiple times, these two properties. So basically what they're asking is we just give it to the city instead of going through the process again, but I don't think there's a rush on this, and since we don't have somebody here from the city to answer any questions.
And I meant to call Connie yesterday, and I didn't, that's my fault, to know what all was going on.
I don't believe that there's a big rush on this.
Is there a time limit?
No.
Yes, Charlie?
Is that East Drive property?
One
of them
one
is, yes.
And the other one is
Do you know any background on
229
it?
Street.
I
On the East
apologize, I've
Drive, you
been,
guys okayed it last year, but they didn't do the paperwork.
The city.
And it fell through the hole where they couldn't get it off the tax sale record.
I mean, I don't have any problem with that. I'm not familiar with the 9th Street property. I am with the East Drive property.
Right.
It's 14 East Drive and 222 9th Street. And I don't think that there's much value in either one of them, but,
The East Drive one, it's just land. It
Right.
was a house, and why it's, I think, up to 85,000 or something on the tax rolls is because I think it was like 45,000 10, 15 years ago when they had to bulldoze it down because of asbestos.
Yeah,
And
you
so it's
guys
just vacant
discussed that in
land
one of your
sitting there.
other meetings and okayed it, but they did not do their side of the paperwork to get it done.
mhm.
It fell
Is that-
through a hole.
is that over a year ago? Because I don't remember discussing.
I think it was a year ago.
I was
think
like,
it
because
was-
I don't remember this at all.
If I remember, I think it
Last
was more
year.
than a year ago. I mean, we can wait till next meeting, isn't it, if you want to get more comfortable with
Yeah, I
it.
mean, have you talked to the city? There is no rush on this one either?
I don't know that
Because I feel bad about this one because I actually did mean to call Connie.
I don't
Connie
know that they'll
emailed
be
me
able
and
to
I
be here
forgot
on the
to
next
call her.
meeting,
Well-
because that's first Monday of the month. I think the Tell City has their meetings on the first Monday of the month, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm not aware of any immediate plans for the property. Are you?
There isn't a time limit on it. They would like to get it as soon as they can, because I know what their plans are, is to turn it around. Now, the house, either they would bulldoze it or tear it down, or they would sell it as is, because people want land to build other homes on. So if they had it, they would turn around and sell that land, which then would put it back on the tax rolls, and of course, then they would get money for selling the land also.
Right.
So, I mean, there is no time
We
limit
tried
on
to
here.
sell it on tax sales more than once.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
The East Drive or whatever, his property, my goodness.
That's been on there a
That's
long
been
time.
there
Long time.
20,
And that's
15
why they
years.
wanted it off, so it didn't go back on it again, so we could clear it off the county.
Okay, so when would it go back on the tax sale? We don't want to pay somebody.
Oh, it won't till, we just have our tax sale in September.
Right.
So it wouldn't go back on there till like, I mean, the charges won't be put back on there until like, what, next July, August, something like that. Yeah.
So, what do you think, Greg? You want to just,
I really don't have a problem with it. If we want to vote on it today, I'm okay with voting on it today, to tell you the truth. The only reason I was going to call Connie is to understand the purpose of what they wanted to do with it, but I think we've gotten that from various
yeah, I
sources here,
mean,
so.
second, third hand, but like I said, I don't have any problem. I don't think the county is in a position to do anything with the property, except pay another
If they can move it forward,
fee
I'm,
to
all for it, let's just,
Right.
let's go.
There's more owed on it than what it's worth, both properties, the way I understand. So, okay, well, whatever you want to do, you want to make a motion?
I'll motion to approve.
Okay, well, I'll second that. Roll call. Greg?
Aye.
Aye. So we'll go ahead and move with that.
I think it's just president only signs.
Right.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, I mean, hopefully they
Well,
can.
there is.
Then there's a resolution.
Well, Greg, you signed it too. It's a place for all
Is it?
three.
Okay.
Maybe they can move
Okay.
forward on.
Yeah, that's what my thoughts are too.
Am I thinking of something else?
If they can make something of it.
What was it? Oh, it was the cash wagon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, the county's really not in position to do anything with it.
I knew there was one.
All right. Under miscellaneous, I want to remind everybody about the ARP survey. It's through September 29th. Please fill it out if you haven't. And then the listening session, September 30th, 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Do you have any comments on the survey? I know you've been watching it closer than I have.
I really haven't looked at any of the results other than making sure that people were still getting in it and filling it out. It's the typical curve, you know, basically a high hit count and then it's kind of drifted off. There was another little bump there, I think, because people advertised it again. So if there's people that can repost it on Facebook, anybody out there that would do that, that'd be great. Because it seems like every time you repost it, we get another little bump. So,
And
Any
what were you
idea on the
up
number
again?
of results or number of returns?
I want to say completely filled out, because there are some sections where they actually have to type. Completely filled out, it's a little bit over 100. So that's the verbal responses. Nonverbal responses probably around 170-ish, something like that. So there are lots of multiple hits where people come to it, fill part of it out, and then they come back and refill it out. So about 500 and some odd hits. But that just is where somebody came and left and came back or whatever. So
Then we'll have more details Thursday night at our ARP meeting.
one of the ways that we know how many people are actually filling it out is the first section. When as soon as you hit next on the first section, you know that they've shown enough interest to actually fill out anything. So that's how those numbers kind of work. So. But there are some people that click on it, I think, and then decide not to fill it out at all. So that's
And
why
that doesn't count as
it doesn't count as one of them. So
Mhm. Okay, well, we'll have deeper discussion on the 23rd.
yeah,
Or
I know.
updates, I mean, because it's not
John,
done.
that's the 30th.
30th.
30th for ARP, we're not meeting. this
Oh,
week.
that's right, we've put that meeting off, because it usually follows the council.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And that is also a chance for someone, if they want to come and actually speak to us. We're going to have groups there to actually interview people if they don't want to fill out a physical survey, but they still have comments they want to make in person. There'll be groups of us sitting around to actually let people do that too. So kind of like a little interview process or whatever. So they can have
Kind of like
discussion.
a public open hearing.
Yeah, except it's kind of more one-on-one, so that it can be a little bit more private with them.
Mhm. Yeah, I know we got time, but hopefully we'll get all this right by the end of the
Yeah.
ARP. Alan Malone had asked about a quick overview of an LED lighting program.
Yeah, I'll let Ron do it. Ron received some information and in regards to our detention center.
This basically just came up yesterday.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask any intent or anything, just wanna get this out for you guys.
This is just informational stuff on it. I don't know who, if you want.
I'll give it to
Teresa, you want a copy of it? I can email it to you if you'd rather.
I printed all 4 pages,
Okay.
full 2 pages, so that's.
What we're asking is, in this, we're not asking for any action at this point. The sheriff has found a company that their business basically is to come in, look at your physical plant and your lighting costs, and they do a no-cost audit of the facility to see what savings potentially might be there. If we would want to look at going with this company, they would come in and change everything out to LEDs at no capital cost. It's kind of, everybody's kind of familiar with these things. I think, you know, they share in the savings over a certain amount of period of time to get their money buyback. But all we're asking for at this point is, if we are interested in enough that the gentleman that represents this area for this future energy savings company wants to come in and speak, and whether or not somebody from the Commissioners Council would want to maybe be present, ask questions, look at it to explore what the future could possibly be. I mean, it's not, like I said, we're not asking for any kind of action on this at this point. It's just something that kind of fell in our lap. They are in Montgomery County, Indiana right now doing the same thing, and the audit that they did there, if you look on there, I included it in there, the savings can be potentially pretty high. I think over a 15-year period, I think they're saving Montgomery County projected $250,000. So, I know I got Mr. Hendershot back here. He's kind of a little excited about it because for 15 years they take care of all the physical plan of the lighting. We pay nothing. If a light would break or whatever, they would come in and replace the light at their cost for 15 years. I know Greg was pretty excited about that.
So how do they recoup their cost?
Do savings on after the audit, they say, say our lighting's costing us $1,000 a month, they get 75% of that savings for 15 years. We keep 25% at the end of the 15 years. We cut ties and everything's done. That's the only money that we pay back out to them.
So the way it works
Yeah.
is basically that when you switch over to LEDs,
Mhm.
basically your energy level
Yeah.
consumption goes down, and
Yeah.
based on that calculation,
Yeah.
because there's not really a meter just for your lights. right?
Exactly.
So they do it based off of the calculation.
Absolutely.
And based on that calculation, then you have X number of savings. Now, they make sure that actually happens on your bill
Yeah.
too, but the key there is that upfront, there's two keys to this. One is the upfront calculation,
Mhm.
because that's what their savings is based off of, so you don't want to you want to make sure it's not inflated, so
Yeah.
that you're not paying more than what you should. And then the second part of it is basically just the terms of the contract to make sure
Yeah.
that they're all there.
Yeah.
Because the key here is that they do get their money.
Yeah, eventually,
And you
yeah.
want to make
They-
sure that you
it's-
really are getting your savings,
Yeah.
otherwise you're paying for it.
Yeah. And
So
all-
we get the savings with no upfront
Yeah.
capital costs. And
Exactly.
That's the advantage for
And,
the
Yeah.
county.
and we've done this at the schools
Yeah.
before.
Has it
I
worked
don't-
out well?
Yeah, but I gotta remember, I think a big portion of what we did with our lights, we didn't actually enter into a energy savings contract. I think we actually just did it.
Yeah.
But I can go back
Yeah.
and look at that and see what we did. But
And-
some of it is, we had maintenance people there that actually would swap out the lights and the ballast
Mhm.
and all that, because you don't have to have
Yeah.
ballast anymore. It becomes a much simpler
Exactly.
system too, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
And all we're asking for is just, do we want to sit down and talk
Just
with these
look at
people?
it.
Yeah.
Just look at
Yeah.
it.
And
Which
if-
doesn't mean that we do it their way or we do it
Exactly.
another way, just let's have
Exactly.
a discussion, which I'm all
Yeah.
for. 'Cause
Okay.
it is a savings.
Yeah.
And then one of us, you just asking that one of us meet when they come meet with you, not
Yeah.
necessarily do this all in public.
And that's what Alan's had me reach out to this guy and talk to him a little bit. They're, like I said, they're currently finishing up Montgomery County, Indiana. So this gentleman is in Indiana about 3 times a month, he said. And if we wanted to sit down and talk, he would set a time where we could come in and have a discussion. And then decide whether we want to do the audit, which is, again, that's a no cost. Even if we decide not to go with them, it doesn't cost us anything to have the audit, so.
It would include maybe in higher courthouse, if we're able to do that.
I mean, I don't.
It's a good point
If
of
I
discussion.
would,
yeah.
if I would do the jail, I would look at this place too,
Yeah.
if we're going to
Right.
audit it as well.
Mhm.
We've upgraded we upgrade the LEDs?
These aren't LEDs. No.
No, these are probably T8s.
Some
Yeah.
areas.
Probably
Yeah.
T8s, yeah.
Some
Yeah.
areas.
And we still have the
The little
T12 in some
headlights are, I
places.
think.
Yeah.
Oh, you do?
Mhm. So-
It's not enough to change like your power factor, you know.
No.
But it would be nice if it would be, but
Yeah.
it's substantial enough
Just-
savings to look at.
Just for example, they estimated Montgomery County was paying about $38,000, I think, what was it, like for a year on just their lighting. And when they went to the LEDs, they were only paying $14,000 for the lighting. So you're talking
We have a lot of light.
quite a bit of savings there when you start talking about tax money going into paying for utilities and stuff.
It doesn't hurt to discuss.
Yeah, I mean, the worst case scenario, we have this guy talk with us and we say, well, we don't think so. Yeah.
What percentages did you say for like those first 15 years? how do you
75% goes to the company, 25% stays with the county. Yeah, yeah, okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
I have a question on that. Was this just brought up, or Whose idea was it?
Well, they kind of sent stuff out to like the sheriff, and then he asked me to kind of reach out to the guy, so I actually had a phone conversation with him, and like I said, they're in Montgomery County, Indiana right now. These companies send out stuff all the time. You know.
Where are they?
These guys are located out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, but they use local like if they would come in here and do it, they would contract with a local vendor to come in and do the work. So it wouldn't be like our money's going out to an out-of-state company. You know, the work would be done by somebody local.
There wouldn't have to be bids put out on this if it was.
At this
No,
point,
we're
we're just
not paying
talking.
for the
what they
service.
find.
Yeah, it's not nothing we're paying for.
We're not
There's
paying
no
you
capital
a day
cost
on
on
it.
it.
We are, and there's multiple companies that do it, so it wouldn't be anything to actually have a couple of them look at it.
Yeah.
So. But when we actually did it at the school, I think we actually had 3 people look at it.
Right, but you did your own.
We ended up doing our own, but we had 3 people look,
Yeah.
3 different companies look at it and actually.
And we can do that too, it's a process, have our local companies.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Johnson Control does the same thing.
Mhm.
We've done work with before too. So.
To me, I'd start simple since we're just into look at it.
Yeah.
Start with these guys, have them do the audit. At least we can see if there's a energy savings there significant enough to look at it. And then if we do decide, then we can always open it up to bid for, because there's plenty of people that do this.
We could do it.
They're not the only ones, that's for
Right.
sure.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah. Mhm. But to answer, I think we can have the conversation.
yeah.
I'll reach back out to him, see when there's might be a couple dates or something he'd be around, but I'll reach out to you guys and let you know and see what we want to do as far as meetings.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not committing to anything.
Yeah,
Yeah, this is just let's talk.
yeah.
Mhm.
And I would grab somebody from the council too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
1 or 2 or whatever.
Yeah, I sent it to Luke also.
Mhm. Okay. Next thing, we've talked back and forth about the dispatch thing, and I would, dispatch contract, I'd like to give this the time it deserves. So I'm proposing a special meeting. Would you be okay with that, Greg? To
Like
talk
a-
about dispatch?
Like a
contract?
joint meeting or?
No, commissioners meeting.
Okay, it's dedicated just to that,
Yes.
okay?
27th, will that work?
27th work for you guys? We want you guys here.
Yeah.
Great.
Huh?
Under public comments, Tom, I didn't sign up, but is there anything I could just update the board on?
Do what? Would you
I'm
care
sorry-
about that?
I'm sorry, Tom. Is there anything, I know I didn't sign up and I didn't know to do that, but is there anything under public comments regarding what we're talking about now that I could just update the board on?
Let's do that all one night.
Well, I mean, this is very urgent. I think you need to be aware of it. I made our board aware of it last night. The urgency is really there. I just want to make sure that you're aware of it, everybody and the commissioners. I won't take a minute of your time.
Yeah, you're
Very
fine,
important.
yeah.
Is the 27th okay though? Do you know?
For me, it is, Greg. I couldn't speak for anyone else, but I'll make it work. Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah, if you want to step up.
Thank you.
Mhm.
While he's coming up, if Chris is available that night, then I think we're okay.
Okay.
Probably.
Okay, I'll make a motion, second.
Second.
Aye,
Aye.
okay.
4.
Special meeting 27th, 6 PM work?
Yeah, is that okay?
So
Sure.
just pending Chris and Randy, or?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
So, and I want, and
No.
thank you for pushing that special meeting through, but I just wanted to update the commissioners that currently I am too short there, and contrary to any rumors or popular belief, it has nothing to do with this PSAP agreement. That's not the reason we're losing employees. It's to better themselves, and I wish them the best in that. However, it does put us in a dilemma down there. We are trying to use part-time as much as we can to cover these vacancies, but I guess that's coming out of our special services, and that's going to deplete pretty quick because we're filling full shifts. There's been some times, I'm going to be honest with you, throughout this short time that I have had a dispatcher working alone, which is my worst fear. I know Alan don't like to work deputies alone. Nobody likes to be alone. Our officers, we don't let them do that. They only field some calls. These guys field every call. You know, whether it's 2 hours, 4 hours, we can't predict when something's going to happen. So I just wanted to update you that there was that gap there with 2 personnel members that, you know, and I do have applicants, but I couldn't in good faith offer a job or form a panel and offer a job to someone that may be leaving their current position, don't know if they're going to be able to sustain a job with us. I couldn't in good faith do that to them, so I kind of like to know where we stand before we move forward with the hiring process. But as I expressed in my email, I do have applicants that are ready to go. If anybody would like to be on the hiring panel, I would encourage that. We usually put 5 on the panel for interviews, including some of our dispatchers who would be working with them. But I do have some applicants, but like I said, I need to get these positions filled ASAP. But I just want to make sure they're not leaving a full-time job, not knowing if they're going to be able to sustain their one they're going to. That's not good practice for us.
May I
So-
ask, has this been advertised, or is this?
Yes, ma'am, it
Okay.
has. It has
Are
been.
they full-time?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
The one was a full-time dispatcher's position. She relocated to Warwick County. The other is upcoming here with our records coordinator. She's pursuing her career. She's a dispatcher that could jump in and fill these spots, but now we're losing her too. So that really creates 2 vacancies immediately for us, and we're really thin. I mean, it's a skeleton crew, and that's not where I want to be thin at. And I know you guys understand that.
Mhm.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. And I mean, not to discredit at all, but I mean, this is a pretty widespread problem. I mean, with filling positions, especially in public service. I mean,
Sure it is.
The mess that's going on in Louisville with their jail is,
Oh, I
they'll
understand.
bring the National Guard in. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's everywhere. But I just wanted to update you all that I do have applications waiting. I ran the criminal histories through our IDAX terminal, or the IDAX terminal there. I ran the criminal histories. We could all review them together. I didn't see anything that jumped out at me. They all look like good qualified applicants that would be eligible for an interview.
So are you asking for one of us to be?
Absolutely. If you want to be part of the interview panel, I would welcome that. Steve has participated before with us during the interviews. I just don't know with and I try not to base on rumors, but I hear from the mayor and I hear from the chief. Really, nobody will communicate with me, and that's fine. I understand. But I just don't know where we're at with it, Tom. And I just want to know that. I wanted you to know, because
Last meeting we had,
you're in
he was in
the.
the same meeting I was. We were supposed to meet again, and that's the last that I know of.
Yeah, but I think that a lot of this vacancy thing has transpired since then. That's the reason I wanted to bring it to your attention. And I know you're in the EMS field, and you understand how important it is
It
to
is, yes.
have a full staff and a full crew the best
So
we
you
can.
want, I mean, I would help. I mean, unless you want to.
I'd welcome any, but I just don't know, and like I said, I'm not basing anything on rumors. I just know what I hear and the calls that I receive, that there is a possibility of county maybe moving the dispatch and things of that nature. And I just didn't want these individuals to take a job that they may not be able to sustain. It's just a scary situation I'm in right now. But I just need to get these vacancies filled. We need to get these vacancies filled.
Well, the decision hadn't been made. I mean, I'm sorry. We
That's,
just
and that's,
haven't made it.
that's fine. But I just wanted to bring you up to speed on this, because this is since our last meeting. And, you can ask Steve. He's participated in our interview panels before. We love input. We're all in it together. But I usually ask for 5 members, and I can exclude myself if a county member wants to be part of it. Alan's participated maybe before. We usually form a panel to cast our votes and get the best candidate.
Reach out whenever you want to do that, too.
Yes, I'd like to do it sooner than later, and I appreciate you scheduling a special meeting. Thank you.
Okay, all right. All right, any other public comments?
I have one.
Yes, ma'am?
I just want to make sure that you understand, I think his point is that they don't want to hire a Tell City employee if the county is going to take it over, and then they may not have a job. So I think
That's why, yes, and
Yeah, so there's
that's
an
one of the
urgency.
reasons why I wanted this special meeting, is to explain the side of the county. But
And I also-
I can't sit here and commit, because I'm one of 3, and one is not even here, so, but, yeah, I completely understand his point. I mean, I understood what he was saying.
Okay, and then one other thing that I have is I sent you guys an email a couple times asking for the breakdown of the cost if the county were to take over dispatch. I know that Mr. Hauser has came forward and said that it was only a $60,000 difference. I've asked councilmen, I've asked all of you guys, I've asked the county auditor, Teresa. Nobody seems to have it, so I don't know if it's missing in action, or is it even really a thing?
Well, I responded to you.
Yeah, I
And my
know.
response was, I've
You
never
don't have
seen
it
it.
either.
I don't have it, I've never seen it, I don't know, so,
I-
if I had it, I'd email it to you right now.
I'm just saying, I'm confused why it was publicly stated that there is a cost, breakdown, and it's been reviewed and everything, but nobody seems to have That's concerning to me.
I didn't have it in writing. Steve, do you have that available?
I do not, I got it at the office.
Okay.
It's a generic breakdown, but those are the figures that we put together. We
Okay.
can present them at an official meeting if you'd like.
Yes, we'll do that. We'll put it in writing and put it
We can
at the
present that.
special meeting.
At your commissioners meeting.
Mhm.
That'd be great.
So. All right, next meeting will be, what? Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
Sorry, Jim.
Sorry, Jim.
I thought you were finished, or
Oh, I'm.
No worries. Okay, I just want to add something from what was said from the September 2nd. And I'm definitely glad that we've got live streaming, because now I can see how foolish I look by my memory.
I don't think so, Jim.
Well, no, I'm serious about this. I want to let you know. First thing, I want to correct something. My memory for names is getting worse and worse, and when you get close to 80 years old, you'll understand this. I kept referring. I went back and looked at, and I kept referring for Pam as Pam, for not Kim. I'm getting, when I was talking about our sanitarian, I kept saying Pam, and I said, well, I meant Kim. Okay, that's who I was speaking of. So I wanted to correct that in the live streaming. I kept saying Pam, referring to the sanitarian in the health department. Okay.
We translated in our heads.
Yes,
It was
but
all right.
I want to make sure that I correct myself. The reason is because there's some corrections that I want to talk about real quick. At that meeting, Herbie Landers came forward concerning page 16 of the ordinance, which the reason that he came forward about that and wanted and discussed with you a change in the ordinance is because I had a conversation with Kim the week before and explaining to her that for many years the health department is taking on a task that puts them in a liable position by them stating where an animal, if an animal bites, where that animal is to be housed. And that's not the way it was written in the ordinance. So the reason why Herbie came was to change that so that the health department had the ability to decide where an animal's to be housed. And of course I came to you and I explained to you that is, you're changing things that shouldn't be changed at that time without really reading that, and it's really important, and I'll tell you why. I'm going to just quote part of it from the live streaming from Herbie. He said, and I quote, "I've spoken with Dr. Brent Marsh, Indiana Department of Health." Okay, that's the first thing. That's a quote. Later on, he said Dr. Marsh agreed that if we revamp the wording to and or the county health department, that would solve the problem. And the problem is he feels that the health department should have a voice into saying where the animal's to be housed. Now, here's the problem. He said, "I've spoken to Dr. Brent Marsh, the Indiana Department of Health." Dr. Brett Marsh is the state vet. He's not even with the Indiana Department of Health. So I want to make that a correction because that's very important, because if people got the information that he's talking as far as Dr. Brett Marsh is talking for the health department, and he's not. He's speaking as the state vet, and that's apples and oranges. And his discussion is like me talking to you, and I could say, "Look, we could easily solve this problem," but he has no position to say that except what it states in the IC and the IAC. And I urge you to read IC 1517-611A,
What was that number again?
15-17-6-11A. And the reason why at the very end of that, it actually states that the IC, it does not state where the quarantine should take place, okay? They refer that, they've tried to refer that to the county in almost every instance, and that's why the ordinance was stated as this. We start messing with what we had originally from the ordinance and started changing ours and deleting ordinance, and then we've caused problems. And we're going to cause more problems because, and I also talked to Dr. Markram about this, because he would be involved because he is actually the county health officer. And he understands that Kim is not an animal control officer. And it's my opinion, and this is my own opinion, that if that wording is changed, then the responsibility of the Animal Control Board goes down even more, when this is their responsibility to make sure that that quarantine is proper. And the health department does not have the time. They don't have the time with what's going on now to go out and check. So the problem is that if Chris is not looking at, Chris is looking at the legality of it. And yes, if you want to change that ordinance, you possibly could, but if you talk to all of the rest of the counties that have this, they should have that responsibility, they should have that option. But if you change that to the health department, now you're putting an additional burden, and the health department doesn't get these animal calls right away. It's the dispatch and the police department. So the health department wouldn't even be involved until after the dispatch would then dispatch it to the proper authority, which is the Animal Control Board. The problem we've got is, and again, as I stated before, we have 5 Animal Control Board members, only 4 now, right now at this time, but we have 5 board members, and those 5 board members, I believe, should be more active than they are. Herbie's running his head off trying to keep up with things whenever you got 4 other members that are on that board, as stated in the ordinance, what their responsibilities are, and they're putting the responsibilities off on Herbie's shoulders. And of course Herbie's taking that, but I can see where he's starting to get frustrated because he's not getting up. He's spending a lot of time, gas, and cost. So I think all of the rest of these board members should become more active and more responsible. And whenever dispatch gets a call for Tell City, they should be calling the board member that represents Tell City, which is Julie, not Herbie. Herbie is the chair of the board, but you've got supposed to have 5 members there. You can't have just one person doing everything. No man is an island. And so the problem is dispatch doesn't know who to call. And if you look at your towing book, you'll see nothing where it says animal control. When somebody gets bit, you know who gets calls? I get the calls. Somebody calls me and said, Mr. Carter, who do we call? So I have to give them information, so that's a loss of there's a loss of communication right there. I have to say, have you called here? Have you called here? Okay, have you called here? So, and I'm speaking now because I'm answering the phone for the Humane Society, but I'm speaking again as an individual. The Humane Society is taking the burden of answering calls. The dispatch should have the information to know exactly who to call. If it's Canton, there's a Canton representative. If it's a Tell City representative. But if you start messing with it more on this end result of the animal control ordinance, you're destroying the animal control ordinance and what was meant to be. You've already taken out Section 2, and that would have helped pay for the cost of an animal control officer.
Just so we're clear on Section 2 was a physical, which fell on the council.
Well, part of that. That was
all of the financial and
yes.
Yeah, and I'm very much aware of it, Jim.
I know you're involved.
But that's the reason why, because the council at that time decided not to pass a county option dog tax.
Yes.
And so that completely eliminated any fee structure.
Yeah. Yes. As it's stated there, but it would not necessarily. You did not.
We cannot. The commissioners cannot.
I understand.
A tax.
I know that. I'm all the way that.
Unless, I mean, and I'll show you because I know it was before your time, but state statute said that you cannot, the county cannot impose a fee or a tax unless the council imposes a county option dog tax. I mean, that's what it says.
Yes, but what I'm saying is, that is for the, it's not specific to the whole Section 2. There's other parts of Section 2.
I think we kind of drifted.
Yeah,
The-
yeah.
the
Right,
scope
yeah, we
creep
did.
here.
Yeah.
I think the key is, to me, in the first meeting of October, hopefully on the agenda, still hashing things out, but I'm hoping that on that agenda, we'll actually have the animal control service contract that we talked about in the last meeting.
Mhm.
I hope that one's there and we get it done and over with.
Mhm.
And we'll have that answer of who to call.
Well, that, and I think
Right,
at
and I agree.
that point, we look at the ordinance and we say, does it make sense in this new scenario? Is what I think we look at.
Yeah, but the reason, one of the reasons that I was bringing that up is now the newspaper, which is also undermanned because they've got a skeleton crew, is starting to publish things to the public, not correct information based on what was being said from different people. That's an incorrect information. So now they're starting to publish wrong
I haven't
information.
been contacted, so, I mean.
No, I know. What I'm just saying is that now you've got people that read the newspaper and they don't come to these meetings.
And I know the change to the ordinance that Herbie had brought up, that Chris is analyzing that. But
Mhm.
like Greg said, we were right in the middle of a contract to manage our animal control. So we have to see how that fits.
And I agree with that.
I'd hate to touch it at this point in
I-
time because we may have to redo it again.
Well, that's why I agree with that. So that's why I'm saying, don't change a thing, you know.
It is what it
We
is
did-
right now, I
In
think.
2011, we did, the animal ordinance was, there was an old one that was written in 2005.
Mhm.
And we felt like at that time, 6 years later, that we needed to redo the animal ordinance. And,
Remember, I was involved with that.
right, so, and there were some state statute changes and some different scenarios
Mhm.
that helped the difference. So now, that was 2011. Okay, that was 6 years later. Now we are 10 years later. So maybe it's time to,
I'm not opposed to
to look
looking
at it.
I'm not opposed to looking at it, but I'm opposed, since we're in flux, I think for the first time in a long time, we've actually got movement, which has put us into kind of a flux,
Mhm.
until we get that. I don't want to really look at it until that flux is over with, or at least settled down some, which I think hopefully that first meeting in October that'll happen.
Yes, and I agree with that.
Once that happens, then we've got a new scenario, right? So it probably is right to look at the ordinance at that point.
I definitely.
It's 10 years old, it's time.
Yes, and I agree with that. I agree with that. And I'm just making the point is when you start getting wrong information to the public through whatever media, whether they're the live streaming or through the, and then that person speaks to another person that doesn't come to the commissioners meeting or the county council meetings, that rumors start, and then you get wrong information, and I call it validity of claims. Where is the validity of claims come from? When somebody comes up, including me, comes up and starts talking to you, do you actually go check the validity of what that person said? Who checked to find out that whenever he said that Dr. Brett Marsh was the Indiana Department of Health, everybody took that assumption?
I apologize if I didn't correct him, but it's the same thing like when you said Pam and I translated to Kim, because I
Right.
knew what you're saying.
Yes.
When he said Brett Marsh, I know Brett Marsh.
But I'm here to correct myself.
I know, but
And-
I'm glad.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
And
Yeah.
I'm glad you corrected that too, but when he said that, it's what I did in my mind too. I auto-corrected it for him because I know Brett Marsh. I've talked to him multiple times on the phone, so.
Right.
He said that, I knew state that, so.
Well-
And I apologize that I didn't correct him.
No, you're doing fine. I'm just saying the general public is not knowing that. The general public back here, because I did years and years and years, like you said, 10 years, but 10 years before you were involved, I was involved with the animal issues.
Right.
10 years before that, so I've been doing it almost 20 years. So I can go all the way back with all the records. My problem is my memory. If I don't have it...
Not the only
I-
one.
You
Well,
have to remember to write it down.
right, and then I can't find out where I wrote it down.
Yeah.
And you see people that have been involved with animal issues, and they've been frustrated and frustrated and frustrated. But we need to get this solved, and we need to get, and the last thing I want to say real quick is that what I was talking about a month ago of getting this roof over that we need to go ahead with that as soon as possible. That,
I think it's a good idea.
And I discussed it with him, I said, if we can get a volunteer base, and he's volunteered to try to see if he can get a volunteer base, if we can, then bring us a bill of what the materials are, and I'm ready to go as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, and there's money there that is earmarked for animal welfare and control.
Well,
and that,
It should fall on him.
I think
It's-
that falls under that.
under Fund 4932, there's almost $4,000 already sitting there and you don't have that in front of
How
you.
much?
There's $3,868 as of the end of May. There hasn't been spent, as far as I know.
That may be in a fund that was.
But there is a fund with around 45.
Oh, yeah. This
that's what I'm saying.
is a separate fund that can be used.
Yeah.
It can be used, and and it's not gonna be more than 3,000. Let's tap into it now. I can go get the parts, and all I need is, whoever's got the key to that building to get that, to get all that building stuff in there, and then we can say, hey, okay, I'll get back with you, and we get volunteers to get it done.
Like we discussed on the phone, I think there's a couple steps to the operation. One is, I would like to get the people down here so they can actually look at it with you and make sure they're good with it too, right?
Correct.
Since they're gonna be working with us, right, at this point. And then, the second one is the drawing, which you've already provided, which appreciate that. And then the third one is just a list of materials and costs, so that we can start down the road. But I have no problem moving towards that direction.
Whatever the
for
next
sure.
step is, let's just.
Which I know you provided a list before, but.
All right, there it is.
Yeah.
There's the breakdown. That's already broke
So
down.
the only thing that we've got left is to make sure that they're happy with the setup.
Yeah, the only
And a
question,
volunteer base.
the only other question I would have is, is I have to look at attaching the roof to the building, a hard attachment, or keep it free floating, because it would be more stable if it was attached to the building, and that would probably be another $200 cost to attach to the building. That's the only thing that I didn't have, so,
Yeah, and from what I know about building, I think attaching it is a better idea.
yeah. In a 3-to-1 or 4-1 slope, and like I said, a few details, like if you want fascia and guttering, but we're still talking about less than $3,000 if we get volunteers,
Yeah,
okay?
Yeah.
We need to push that, please push that, because,
Like we talked on the phone,
Yeah.
I'm ready to pull the trigger.
Yeah.
I'm just.
but I don't want to, without the three of you there, I don't like, to,
I think we could have, if we had the information, we could have moved on today. Do you see a problem? Except for
I would like to have them come down
Yes.
here and look at it and go, bless,
And that's part of the piece we don't have today.
I'll get back with you on
That's
that.
that's just a nicety to them, but I
Right.
think we need to be nice to them because they're helping us out.
Yeah, because see what you're doing also with somebody that needs to, if we get this done by January 1st, by next year, and you get somebody temporary, however you do it, then they actually have an emergency place to
Right.
take that animal that's safe.
Exactly.
It's a good
Exactly.
investment.
And Julie was,
Well, not only them, but a police officer too, because right now, if you call a police officer, they can come help you with an animal, but they have no place.
absolutely.
to take that.
Right.
And Julie's concerned about
It
if,
kind of
it-
ties their hands right now.
you know what, when Julie was talking about, her concerns was the animal in there, that somebody could come and shoot the animal through the, well, would you rather have, to protect the public, I would rather have the animal in that than at a home where somebody's shooting a gun through the home. You see what I'm saying? Because if that person's got the guts to go in and shoot,
We've done this before. How was it done before? The safety of the animal, how was that addressed?
Well,
Do you remember?
and let's take a step back too, because we addressed this the last time too. If we put this service in place, if someone's bit, and we have to quarantine that animal, not in home, right? Because some of these can be in-home quarantine still. But if it's not in-home quarantine, I think it's a very bad idea to quarantine that animal on site. They actually, for $100, will quarantine that animal in a different county.
yes, I'm aware
That's
of
a
it.
way better option. That is the way we should do it.
I agree.
We shouldn't even
Makes more sense.
propose quarantine an animal like that, just because of what you're talking about. If someone was vindictive, and wanted to take advantage of the situation, let's move it to a totally different facility. They would really have to have gumption to go to another county in a closed building to take action there. You see what I'm saying?
Oh, the only problem is time and who's going to do it, and
The
again,
only reason for this enclosed facility is just the time it takes, if we get into that contract, which I think we will, just that time gap of them getting here.
Mhm.
I mean, a short period of time.
But at that point, an officer has the animal in custody at that point. You know?
Right, and he can release the custody to this group.
Right, yeah. So, I mean, or at least is on site.
So
If
you-
they don't have the animal,
officer on
even if they don't have the animal in custody, they're on site.
So you're both agree that we can go get this roof as
I don't see
ASAP?
any reason why not, and
Okay.
from what I've heard from Ray, I don't see that being a
Okay,
Sticking point to him either, yeah.
okay.
From
So
his reaction when we talked about it last meeting, I didn't.
okay, well, I'll get back with you and
move forward on it.
all right, ready?
Okay,
Appreciate it.
Thanks. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
I'd just like to say, as a concerned citizen, I noticed like the last couple meetings, there's things been put under miscellaneous that are kind of hot topics or controversial topics, like dispatch, animal shelter, animal control, mask mandates, those type things. And I don't think that's fair to the public. Those are things that we want to know what's on the agenda in case we want to come forward and speak or ask questions. And I just would like to ask that if there's anything like that that's a larger scale, you know, project, or like I said, a mandate or something with dispatch or animal shelter, animal control, that those are actually line items on the agenda so that we know.
No, the animal was brought up by public comment, so we don't have control over that, but you're right.
No, not
But-
today.
But the
The
dispatch.
last time it was miscellaneous,
Yes,
you know.
yes.
But
It was,
the-
I just got the contract, you're
Correct.
absolutely right.
Well,
But
I
the
mean, we're
dispatch
speaking for-
issue, that's the reason why I wanted a special meeting. I didn't want to just discuss that in miscellaneous.
Right, it has been before though, is what I'm saying, so.
It
those
was
kind
brought
of-
up by public comment. It's never been on our agenda. The last time it was brought up, Roger Smith asked if he could speak, and we allowed him to speak. That was public comment, and it wasn't on our agenda, and it wasn't added to the agenda except for public comment. So, in the mask mandate, I felt like, not to discredit any, but I felt like that it was suddenly that we went into orange and we could bring it up. That, and the mask mandate wasn't, it was just for this building and to coincide with the circuit court. Now, if the mask mandate for countywide for public businesses was brought up, by all means, that needs to be, which I don't want to put on the agenda because I don't feel like that we should ever do that. But if something that serious and that widespread, then by all means, it should be publicized on the agenda.
Yeah, I just know that dispatch was discussed under miscellaneous one time, I believe you brought it up. And I know that animal control, animal shelter has been brought up under miscellaneous for sure, and like I said, the mask mandates. And those are just things that concerned citizens and the public want to be able to know ahead of time in case we want to come and ask questions or be a part of the discussion. I think that that's important. And it's not just those topics, it's anything that might be controversial or a hot topic, or, you know, I realize things come up, but I think that we deserve to know that.
Well, we'll strive to put it on the agenda. And then,
Definitely anything that.
and if nothing else, unless it's a dire emergency, you know, that came up since the agenda was out. And I think what I wanted to do, and I was talking to Teresa about the agenda, I like the way the council does it, that they put the agenda out way ahead, and then the first thing on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. And I think we're gonna add that.
Yeah, because in reality, some of the topics that are in miscellaneous, we could actually, unless they're brought up by public comment, which we can't control, some of those could be amended at the beginning of the meeting.
Right.
I really, to
But
kind
the
of back up
goal-
what you're saying is.
The goal would be put on the agenda at the beginning.
Yes. If it's something hot that you didn't know right before, like the animal shelter, when I brought it up, that probably should have been amended to the agenda, because it landed in my lap, basically, at that point.
That day,
Yeah, well,
basically, was
that
the day
week.
before.
It really was that week. It was a few days before, but I didn't have a contract for sure, so I didn't want to say anything until I had something for sure. But the thing I was going to say is anything in miscellaneous, it's hard for me to vote on anything that we put in miscellaneous. That there really shouldn't be anything decided in miscellaneous.
Nothing that requires action.
Absolutely, there shouldn't be anything in miscellaneous. Yeah.
Thank you.
It's more of a comment section.
Pretty much, yeah. But if there's something, you know, a hot topic that the public would be of high interest, then I believe that it should be on the agenda.
But I like
Line
the
items on the
amend,
agenda.
the whole amend part is a good idea. That's
Yeah.
okay.
We'll approve the agenda and then any amendments.
And may I ask a question? You know, in the past, I've always sent out the meeting notice usually about a week before your meeting. Is it preferred? I mean, 2 business days is really the requirement for open door law. Do you have a preference on closing that gap a little bit to allow for more items to be on the initial meeting notice?
I'm okay.
And really, I mean,
I'm
it's
okay
not-
with it staying the way it is, and if 2 days before we add topics, we just need to republish the agenda.
And I don't believe an agenda is required on a meeting notice.
Probably not.
When it is included, it's supposed to be posted. So, you know, in the past, I've always done an agenda with
And
my
I
meeting
appreciate
notice.
that Teresa is very helpful for me.
Well,
And-
so, you know, if you think I need to wait till 4 days before, 4 business days, or
Well,
maybe,
and-
because there's a lot of things that do come in.
Right.
You know, the meeting notice goes out, and the highway department, I forgot, I've got a transfer, I've got an appropriation.
But the
or
flip
I'm gonna
side
have
of that, it
something
gives
else.
less time for people to prepare if you shorten that gap. So, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know, I mean,
I'm okay with you doing an initial publish a week before, because if anything, that reminds the other departments too, hey, if you had something that's not on the agenda, you better get it on there.
mhm.
And then we can do another publish of the agenda or whatever after, if that's okay with you. Is that too much?
Another publish of the agenda,
A week before.
well,
2 days before, whatever the requirement is. It's 2 days, isn't it, 48 hours?
2 business days. So do you want a
Meeting.
second meeting notice to go out then? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, just basically of the agenda.
Okay,
So-
okay. Do you want, you're proposing the agenda to be a week or 2 days?
I like that it's posted a week before, one that helps people plan, you know, if they want to come.
Mhm.
The other is, it's a nice reminder for the departments, like Steve gets a reminder at that point, he looks at the agenda and goes, oh, I'm supposed to be on there, and he's not. So that gives him a push to, or the highway department, or whoever, I'm picking on Steve, sorry, you're here. So I think that's a good thing, I think that, because we've seen that, right?
So
Where
you
it's-
want the agenda a week?
I think, and
Okay.
then if it's okay, 2 days before, if the agenda has changed or been updated or whatever, can we republish it? Is that a big deal to?
The thing of it is, if you're wanting to approve an agenda, then,
We can approve that at the meeting.
I mean,
And
I'm
that's
just trying to, I'll do whatever you want. I'm trying to get a handle here on what it is you're wanting.
Yeah, I would go ahead and do it 2 days before, because the only thing that really we should do that night is things that just like literally came up the day before or whatever, you know? I'm not
Okay,
gonna-
so you want notices going out a week before and 2 days before?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, that's fine with me.
Is that too much work? I mean,
It-
how do you post
I don't
it?
have anything else to
That's
do.
another thing. I don't want-
Teresa, you just
How-
named
how do you
your days.
What's the normal
I mean,
posting?
I just I'll put it in my calendar.
What's
and
the
then-
normal posting
do
process,
it.
though?
Huh?
What's the normal posting process? Is it an email out, or is it
Well,
on the website?
I do not post it on the website.
You don't post it on the website?
No, it's just,
I get it from Teresa, and then I put it on Facebook.
anybody, you know, honestly, the sending out of the notices, I mean, the only requirement right now is to the Perry County News, because they submit the letter at the end of the year requesting. All the others that are sent out are a courtesy,
Okay,
and I don't mind doing it.
okay.
It's just, I just want to know what it is exactly that you're wanting,
Yeah.
so.
I'm fine as long as it's not a burden.
Yeah.
A meeting notice is different than an agenda, so, you
Right.
know, it's just
Meeting
whatever
notice
your
has to
preference
be
is.
48 hours.
The
by
meeting
law.
notice goes out at least a minimum of two business days prior.
Yeah.
Whether an agenda is sent out is optional. If it is sent out, then it has to be posted,
Yeah, so I think.
and it is posted.
I think I think it makes it simpler for you. If it's not, you tell me, okay? It's the week before is the notice and the initial agenda, whatever it may be. And then 2 days before is just the updated agenda. I don't think you have to repost
If there've been any.
if there's been any changes.
Yeah.
If there's changes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I appreciate
Now, I
it.
can't guarantee that you get it.
I'll email it. I'll email it.
But we'll see
You've
if we can
got
work
mine
that
though,
out.
right? I've emailed you once since we've had that
Okay.
change.
Yeah.
If changes.
Yeah, I don't, and I guess those security things are getting worked out.
Okay.
Mm.
Okay. And while we're on this subject, can you clarify me what the September 27th meeting is? Are we doing the normal format of a meeting, or is this just for the purpose of discussing, or is
I
it
would like for-
approval or a discussion?
I would like for it to be just a discussion on dispatch issues.
Okay, so there will be no, is this no public comment? This is just, I'm going to do a meeting notice that states that this is just for the purpose of this.
Yes.
There's no agenda.
Discussion on dispatch.
Okay, discussing dispatch services.
So there won't be public
There was,
comment?
I'm sorry.
We would probably allow them, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, but this is such a popular subject, I want everyone to, so everyone has a chance to be heard, that everyone keeps it to a minimum if possible. I'd like to put 4 minutes on it because that seems to be a standard, but, if that's adequate. And then also, if the same point is being made, I would ask that from multiple people, we're not taking a vote on it by the public, but if the same point is being made, that to save time, that point is made by the minimal amount of people.
I think it's important that you listen to the public and what the
I
public has
absolutely,
to say.
I absolutely said that, yes.
Yeah.
I'm not disagreeing with that. What I'm saying is if the same point is being made, that hopefully that it could be made, by minimal amount of people, so we don't just keep hearing the same point over and over again.
Yeah, typical Roberts rules sets a time limit and then also allows the president of whatever board it is, or council or whatever, to say that's a repeat of information and stop it.
But
So.
you don't follow Robert's Rules of Order here. You
No,
asked for it
but,
at the beginning and you.
no, but
voted
if
no.
you're gonna follow something and make something, let's mirror it at least, right?
Mhm.
So,
Okay.
I mean, I've sent emails about the subject and I don't get replies except for from Greg, so I'll probably have something to say.
Well, I will say this, if he answers them, I see him answering, he gives an answer. So you got an answer. A lot of times I don't answer emails because someone else already has. And I'll see that when it's sent out to several people. If somebody sends an email out to Teresa and the 3 commissioners, and somebody answers that question, I don't answer the same question.
But my question is not always answered, so that's just, I'll be at the meeting, public comment, but thank you.
okay.
I have another question. It was mentioned that possibly putting the design engineering for the EDA grant at the September 27th meeting. I think you had mentioned it, Greg.
If it
Do
was
we want
time
that?
sensitive, but I don't think it was.
Is it time? Okay.
No.
I
So
thought
we
we
want
were
that
gonna
on
put that
October 4th.
on the
October 4th meeting? Okay.
And I apologize again, Alvin, that was just kind of caught me
Okay,
off
I'm just
guard. I
trying
didn't
to-
know.
I'm trying to keep my notes here. And then has anyone discussed with Chris? Do we know if Chris and or Randy are going to be available? You said something about pending. I have a note on
I'll
here. Pending
ask-
Chris and Randy.
I'll ask Chris, and I think he is. but
Okay, because I've got to get this out by Thursday before 6 p.m.
There's two Chris's though, there's Chris Kale and there's Chris, you gonna have Chris Goffman here?
That's the
That's
Chris
who
I
I'm-
thought you meant.
Okay,
Oh,
I'm
sorry.
I was talking about Chris Kale, that's what I was
Okay,
talking about.
so-
I'll reach out to him
We
too.
need to make sure.
Okay, so you will get back with me and let me know that?
Yes.
Okay. Because this may not go out till Thursday if we don't have
Right.
confirmation on all this yet, so,
Mhm. Would you contact Randy, so it's not a
yeah,
violation?
okay.
Or I could have Chris
I can
Kale,
reach
Chris
it.
Goffman.
You just let me know about the 2 Chris's,
Okay,
okay?
all right. Anything else? Okay, next meeting the
And
27th?
the animal service, I'm sorry,
Yeah,
I've got my notes, animal control service contract, you said October meeting,
yes,
October 4th meeting?
yes. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Anything?
Okay.
I don't mean to interrupt you.
That's okay, I've got to get things straight here on this.
Okay.
Okay, so your meeting with the American Rescue Plan Advisory Committee on September 30th, 4 to 6 p.m.
Mhm.
Your meeting on this coming Monday at September 27th at 6 p.m. pending attendance from the others. And then your next regularly scheduled meeting is October 4th at 6 p.m.
Yes.
All of those are here at the courthouse. Thank you.
Thanks.
Motion to adjourn?